So, we keep hearing about Liberia, and it seems interesting for a while, but a lot of things in life seem interesting for a while. So, what is our church's connection to Liberia? Well, let's start with the basics. Liberia is an African country of 4 million people. It's about the same size as Indiana, but a little more scenic. It was actually settled by slaves freed from America, and for a while, it thrived, as much as any country in Africa did. Then, on Christmas Eve 1989, a rebel uprising exploded, beginning a civil war that lasted 14 years. Families torn apart, churches burned, children turned into soldiers. All the development that had happened, destroyed. Infrastructure, gone. Economy in shambles. Healthcare, non-existent. Roads, don't ask. Unemployment rate, 85%. If there is one thing you should know about Liberia, it is this. There are needs everywhere. Liberians are rebuilding their country. We have seen the progress. Still, last year, the UN said only 7 countries on planet Earth were less developed. Their people are resilient, joy-filled, and are pretty much just like us. They want something better for their children. Still, there are needs everywhere. And maybe, just maybe, their biggest need is for someone to believe in them. So, why do we care? It's a fair question. Suncrest's love for Liberia actually starts before Suncrest. A Liberian man named Danny Bwegar came to study in the U.S. for ministry. While he was there the first time, he was befriended by John Wassam. When he returned, Danny was a classmate of Greg Lee. Suncrest supported his church planting ministry in Liberia, and for a short time, his family even made Suncrest their home. After the war, the Bwegars returned to their country. Suncrest financially supported them, but we never visited. As Greg later said, shame on us. 2008, a church in Muncie was sending a container to the Bwegars, and we took down some Christmas gifts to send along. We learned that the church was sending a team to Liberia. We learned that we could send some people with them. We learned that God was up to something big. And of course, when we set our feet on Liberian soil for the first time, we saw that there were needs everywhere. We were inspired by the church that led this trip. We helped construct a church building. We held a women's conference. We taught vacation Bible school, and over 400 kids showed up. We hosted a medical clinic with lines of people that never ended. And when we installed clean water systems, we literally saw a community taste clean water for the first time. But it wasn't just about the taste. A doctor from the clinic said having clean water would eliminate half of the ailments he treated that week. The difference that clean water could make stirred this church in Muncie. We heard them pray over the words of Jesus, "I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink." Their vision became Hope to Liberia, with dreams of building hope centers and watering the thirsty all over the nation. And since the needs are everywhere, we love partners like this. Meanwhile, lots of people around Suncrest started asking ourselves and asking God, what are we going to do? And the initial answer was fairly easy. Suncrest will do what we've always done. We'll start new churches. It's what we know. It's what God has blessed. And it's built on some more words of Jesus. I will build my church and the gates of hell won't overcome it. But how? And with what resources? We had leaders wanting to launch a campus up the road. And God had unexpectedly put a relationship in our path near South Bend. And that's when the words of Jesus again made the mission obvious. But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you, and you will be my witness in Jerusalem, in all Judea and Samaria, and to the ends of the earth. We call it the Jesus Mission. For 2,000 years, people have read that commission the same way. Think locally, think regionally, think globally. And so we did. And incredibly, our church came together to give over $350,000 to that vision. Now we could plant new churches in Liberia. A team formed with 3 people who had been on trips to Liberia, 2 of our elders, and our fearless staff leaders. They did their homework and prayed a lot. How could we do this? Danny Bwegar's plate was overflowing, and we knew 3 things. First, whatever we do needs to result in new churches. Second, the churches need to become financially self-sustaining. Third, the churches need to be Liberian-led. And then in answer to our prayer, a connection arose with a Liberian who was teaching missions at St. Louis Christian College. And he is starting new churches in Liberia. He's teaching these churches to build on American investments and then take responsibility for their own finances, and he's developing Liberian pastors to start these churches. That man, my friends, is Joe Liway, and he is with us today.